Let me finish the thought.
Most Pluto lovers I've met do not know the following 3 facts. 1, our moon has 5 times the mass of Pluto. 2, more than half of Pluto's volume is made of ice. So that if Pluto were where Earth is right now, heat from the sun would evaporate that ice and it would grow a tail, which is no kind of behavior for a planet. 3rd, Pluto has an orbit that is so elongated that it crosses the orbit of another planet. Excuse me, no. So we finally set up a set of rules and regulations such that Pluto is kicked out of the Planet Club. It's still a dwarf planet, but I think it's happier there. It's one of the biggest dwarf planets.
You know what an egg is?
A cell.
No, I was going to be more metaphorical.
Oh, okay. What's an egg? What's an egg?
This is not a biology class here.
I'm sorry.
Okay, you know what an egg? An egg is a spacesuit for the unborn organism so it can survive in an environment that would otherwise kill it.
Yeah, it is.
Until it can survive, then it no longer needs the spacesuit.
That's true.
Think about that.
I've never thought about it that way.
Yeah.
That's cool. No?
Right? So the chicken is inside the egg because the outer environment can't live in that environment. So it stays in there until it's ready. Then it pops out and it can
leave the ship.
Leave the ship. But I was born after the discovery that the heavy elements that populate the universe and including life on Earth, including us, derive from stars that manufactured them in the crucibles that are their cores, and then exploded, scatter that enrichment across the galaxy to enable nascent star systems to have the right ingredients to make planets, and on some planets make...
I don't know. People.
Yeah, people.
If lightsabers are beams of light, then since beams of light can pass through each other, just see what flashlights do, then you couldn't have a saber fight with the blades bouncing off each other. And I was perfectly happy putting that out there, but no, Brian Cox has to ruin my perfect tweet.
So Brian, what was your rebuttal?
With some particle physics facts. Okay, Brian.
Well, no, it's not particle. It's nature facts.
Okay.
No, I'd worked on what we call gamma-gamma scattering, which is photons, particles of light scattering off each other. So at very high energies, then there is a reasonable probability that two particles of light, 2 photons, will bounce off each other.
Okay, generally today we'll say, if you are of Venus, you are Venusian. And if you're Mars, you're Martian. And if you're Earth, you're Earthling. This is sort of thing.
Earthling is ours?
You didn't know that?
No, that sucks compared
It does.
to other
It's not
ones.
as fun.
It's not as fun.
We're not Earthians or something. Yeah. So we have Martians and Venusians, but Venusian is the improper word.
Really? Okay.
The proper word, if you are of Venus, is venereal.
Venereal.
Yes, and doctors got
like
to that.
the disease.
Doctors got to that word before the astrophysicists did. So they found a class of diseases that are common to lovemaking because Venus is the goddess of love and beauty and all that goes with it. So they call that that entire class of diseases venereal diseases. So in fact, the Russian landers on Venus, they're called Venera. Venera 1, Venera 2. So the Venera root exists elsewhere, but we wouldn't touch it. So we say Venusian just to cover, just to sweep that under the rug.
Then, in the 1990s, we discovered icy bodies in the outer solar system that rivaled Pluto in size. And then we found many of them. And so what we concluded was Pluto wasn't so much the 9th planet, it was one of the largest of the icy bodies of a new swath of real estate that we added to our understanding of the solar system called the Kuiper Belt of comets. So we still had the basic solar system. Pluto was always a bit controversial, but we've now grown in our larger understanding. For me, there's nothing more motivating than the knowledge I'm going to die. Think of the prisoner in the cell and they're putting an X through every one because every X is one day closer to getting out. Well, let's do that for your life. Every X you spend doing nothing, that's a day you could have done something and you're going to die one day.
Yeah.
And it's there on the calendar, okay? This would so motivate me, as it does, to be as productive as I can, as helpful as I can. Try to make a better world for your privilege of having lived in it. So if knowing you're going to die brings meaning to your life, then living forever is a life of no meaning at all.
Damn.
That's how I think about it. So no, I don't want to live forever. It's likely.
I wonder if we are smart enough to actually figure out the universe. Because we define ourselves as intelligent, well, because we came up with the test for that, right? If we give the test to the worm, no, that failed it. Okay, the butterfly, no. The gorilla, no, can't do long division. And so we are intelligent, we tell ourselves. But by our own measures are we intelligent, but not by from some measure outside of ourselves. Suppose there were aliens who had the same genetic difference from us that we have from chimps, but in the intelligence scale. And what's the smartest thing a chimp has ever done? Maybe combine some rudimentary hand gestures, stack some boxes and reach a banana, do some finger painting. Our toddlers do that. So get that next species that we've never met, where they are to us what we are to chimps, or rather chimps are to us what we are to them. Then the smartest among us in their world would be like little Timmy coming home from grade school. Okay, they can roll Stephen Hawking forward and say, this one is slightly smarter than the rest of those humans because he can do astrophysics calculations in his head like little Timmy over here. But put his latest equations up on the refrigerator. Isn't that cute? This is about the size of the moon.
20 inch in diameter, this is 5 inches. So who knew the moon was that large? This is Mars.
Sure, that could be Mars, yeah.
It could be Mars 10 inches?
Oh, yeah, that's
10
right.
inches, is
That's
that
about right,
Oh,
sure.
We're going to do an experiment of how far, to this scale, if we're according to this scale, how far away the moon might be.
Oh, sure, okay,
let's
so
see.
I'll give you the moon.
somebody
Here,
up
come here. Stand right here. Okay, you now have the moon. Put it where the moon is relative. Earth is the
Where do you
size.
think it is?
Right about there. That's about the right distance.
Given that this is 20 inches and this is 5, you think the moon is...
Right about there. Okay. That is way off. Okay. Just start backing up.
Yeah, and
Keep going. Keep going.
turn around while you're going.
Keep going. That's about right. Yeah. That's about the Earth-Moon distance. Yeah. You know why? You've been lied to by textbooks that have to squeeze them both into the same page.
And then the positioning of Mars.
Oh yeah, okay. So, well, you know it's got to be farther than the moon. I'm going to really save you this effort here. It'll be like a mile and a half away, which is farther away than Town Lake. Space is empty. You know the people who say this is a universe made for us? No, it's not. Most of the universe is completely empty, and you'd be dead within seconds if put there. If the Earth were actually this size, the International Space Station would be orbiting about a half an inch above the surface. And that dude who jumped out of a perfectly good balloon, he would have been about 2 millimeters above the surface of this globe. That's his edge of space jump.
That it is so hard to fake every little thing that would need to happen. It's easier to just go to the moon. I'll give you another reason why. The sun, for all intents and purposes in a photograph, is at infinity, which means all shadows are parallel. If you photograph them in the correct way so that you don't have a foreshortening of an angle, you'll see that shadows are parallel. They reference one point at infinity. You can't fake that. In fact, that's how I know in Hollywood if they've artificially lit a scene and pretend that it's the sun, because they can't actually put their light source at infinity. And so I let it go because it's Hollywood and they pretend that it's daytime. And when they're filming at 3 o'clock in the morning when there's no traffic. So if they film one part of the scene in the morning, another part in the afternoon, the shadow is pointing in a different direction.
Right.
And they want you to think it just happened 10 minutes later.
Yeah.
They can't control the sun.
Right.
So they fake the sun in a sound studio and they have the right color temperature of the sun. So it feels like sunlight and it has that sort of brightness that you get. Rome, when they built streets, they didn't call them streets, they called them ways. And you look up at the night sky and you see this milky band of light. They just call it the Milky Way, the Milky Street, literally. In China, where milk is a less popular beverage into adulthood, they don't call it the Milky Way, they call it the Silver River. And it would not be until Galileo did we learn that when you put a telescope on the Milky Band of light, it reveals itself into stars. So we say, wow, All right. But is this all there is? Just stars in front of our face and then the stars that are far away that make this band? It would take until 1920 before we resolved the debate about whether the spiral fuzzy things in the night sky were actual other galaxies separate from our Milky Way. We now know there's nearly 100 billion galaxies in the observable universe, and each galaxy has hundreds of billions of stars on average. In 5 billion years, the sun will expand so large that it will engulf the entire orbit of our planet. And Earth will be a charred ember as it descends into the star while it vaporizes. Have a nice day. If you look up at the night sky, almost half of all the dots of light you see, if you pull out a telescope, will reveal themselves to be binary or triple star systems.